You know, every time that I feature a fixed gear pretty predominantly in a video, the question, understandably, but inevitably, comes up. Why? Why do you like a single speed fixed gear so much? I don't get it. And I mean, I can understand the question. They're kind of archaic, they're maybe a little bit dangerous, and you know, you only have one gear, so getting up places, well, it relies totally on your legs. But for me to explain my infatuation with single speed fixed gear bikes, we kind of have to go back a little ways.
Now, I think it's worth establishing the fact that I am just simply a product of my surrounding. Growing up, my first bike was like a BMX style single speed, which of course I took off jumps, which graduated me to more of an actual BMX, which of course was a single speed. And as my parents can attest, because they're probably watching this video right now, hello, Mom, Dad, I was a fairly independent kid that used that BMX to get everywhere. Most notably riding from my parents' house or any other friend's house to all the different available skate parks that were in the region. And the best part about being a kid riding a single speed is you don't know the difference. You don't even realize that there's a far more viable option. It's just what you have, so you use it. But it also has the secondary bonus of being this wildly useful mode of transportation. That's a big deal when you're younger. Actually, it's a big deal now.
So, to summarize, that's this little 20-inch inefficient single speed that I used to get all around my entire hometown for at least half of my life. A system that arguably could have kept working if not for moving to Nova Scotia. See, when I moved here for school, the riding rules changed just a little bit. The hills were more frequent, they were a little less forgiving, and overall the commute that I was doing to get to school wasn't just for going to a skate park. There was like a slight bit more purpose to riding a bike to get somewhere than just to go ride or eat pizza. Now initially, I wanted to go for something like this. This is sort of what I was looking for and sort of wanted to get into for getting to and from school and getting around town. But of course there was three things working against me in the case of trying to get something like this as a new college student. Number one being I wasn't working, therefore I was broke and didn't have any money, and the fact that I'm just kind of a cheap person overall. So really at the time, no matter how inexpensive any entry-level like road bike could have been, it was just kind of out of the realm of possibility. It just wasn't going to happen. It's hard to buy something when you don't have any money, so sort of at the mercy for what I could get at the time. Now, I had built enough of these to know that if I could take some of the knowledge that I had from building a BMX and put it into something like a road bike, I could find a happy medium.
The equation is simple. Road bikes are expensive, so remove all the expensive parts off of it and just replace them with the cheaper single-speed BMX style parts that I'm used to.
And it was actually from a local BMX forum, and there were some now friends of mine who were also kind of going through the same sort of situation. Just getting past that age where riding a BMX everywhere for those like shorter, less than 10 kilometer distances was feasible. Now it was getting to the point where rides were getting longer, and there just needed to be a more efficient way of getting around on a bike. So unsurprisingly, enter the cheap fixed gear conversion. My first 700C bike was a $100 purchase from a friend of mine who had converted a V-Brake hybrid to a single-speed drop bar bike with just a rear brake. He did it so on the cheap that he even left the stamped steel riveted triple and just picked the middle ring for a like half-decent chain line. That was the gearing. Triple with a single-speed conversion on a road wheel. Done. And really the thing that appealed to me about it was that it was so put together like a BMX that I didn't feel weird about owning something too fancy. Because at the time, my bike mechanic skills weren't any further than really hitting things with hammers. I'd never used anything smaller than a 6mm Allen key. Why would I need to do that? And I didn't even know there was a difference in chain width. I rode that bike for years. And from the beginning, riding a single speed or a fixed gear just felt so much more familiar, and in the end, so much more accessible. See, on a single speed or a fixed gear, you can actually upgrade just one thing at a time. Where I learned very quickly with road bikes, you don't get to just change a derailleur. You don't get to just change a shifter. You don't get to just kind of play around with things. It's all designed to work together. With these, they're so simple that as long as it'll bolt on, you're pretty well good to go. And that was just what I was used to in the world of BMX. You can make things work where needed. But with road bikes, you learn that everything's so specific. And it takes a long time to get the grasp of all that. I was very lucky to be able to work and volunteer in a bike shop and learn all of this. As a matter of fact, if I didn't do that, I probably never ever would have actually gotten into any sort of true road riding or mountain biking or cross racing. So you had this really bad habit of taking my first 700C road bike off-road and riding around on trails, and I thought that was a lot of fun. Really, my friend Eric Cudmore sort of introduced me to the world of cyclocross because there was a lot of fun going on around in the races, and there was a lot of mud and off-road riding with the size wheel bikes that I was riding. So from the photos I saw, it looked like a pretty damn good time. And it was actually those conversations and him showing me those pictures that got me in to wanting to get one of these, that kind of progressed me to this point of having so many bikes for one thing. Because I did do my first ever cross race on a single speed with 28mm wide knobbies. I did very poorly, and I wore running shoes and flat pedals. It was an eye-opening experience. So yeah, the next time you're wondering why I like riding a single speed or a fixed gear so much, just know that it's like rooted in me. I've just been stubbornly riding them for so long that I just can't see myself stopping.
Okay, but what about climbs? Honestly, for punchy climbs like that, or any climb in general, stubbornness is pretty well what gets you through it.
Not to mention, you can get into a really, really nice high-end fixed gear for like a fraction of the cost of what a really, really nice road bike is. And also, unfortunately, in my ego, and I'm not afraid to admit it, that maybe I just kind of like the attention when you're climbing really steep hills on a single speed. And people are like, how you doing that? Yeah, that's a cool feeling.